Hey guys, Nuan here with Movie Slinger Reviews, and today we are going to do a spoiler discussion on Avengers Endgame. So, as you can see, I've assembled a team of comic book movie experts. So, we have Oshita Narangoda, Travis Gomez, and Ashan Cabral. Thank you guys for being here. So, before we spoil everything, tell me briefly what you guys felt when you walked out. Just what you felt.
Total goosebumps, man. It was amazing. I mean, perfect ending to 22 movies, and I think they wrapped up each character. I mean, they should rename it Avengers fan service. It was just that. It was amazing.
Travis?
Yeah, very much similar feelings with that. So I think you have to look at both Avengers Infinity War and this as like one big movie, and I think it ties more or less ties everything together. So I feel like they have the fan service, but at the same time they made a good story out of it as well.
You were satisfied,
Satisfied
how
with
they
it,
pulled it off. Oshita?
So I was speechless as soon as I came out of the cinema, and I believe it was the grand culmination of 22 movies throughout 11 years. Loved it.
Overwhelmed, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get into the story. So, first of all, I want to break this down. So, we have like a prologue part where they deal with events immediately after the snap, and then you go into the first act, which takes place a few years in the future, where they are planning to reverse the snap. And then Act 2 is sort of like carrying out the plan, and Act 3 is the big final showdown, and then you have a bit of an epilogue at the end where they wrap things up. So, going into the prologue, the first part we see is Tony and Nebula in space. So, I really like this part, how they showed Nebula has changed now. She's being nice, she's even playing games with Tony. So, what did you guys think about this sequence in the start?
Wholesome.
It was really cute to see there.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've grown as friends during that time, and I think one of the most underrated characters throughout the MCU is Nebula. I mean, she's suffered so much abuse, and to see her like this was pleasing.
I think it's important to build her up.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
she has a pivotal role later on. Yeah.
Because even in the, I think what I liked about it was, even if you read the comics in the Infinity Gauntlet, Nebula plays a big role in that. So even though it is different, I feel that she made a big impact in this. So I like that part.
I like the fact that eventually they started emphasizing on the alien part of Nebula more than making her look like a machine.
Okay.
So and I love the chemistry between Tony Stark.
They
and
had
Nebula,
perfect chemistry,
even though it
yeah.
was just last of about couple of minutes.
I liked it so much. I wished it lasted longer.
Exactly.
Because then a few minutes later, Captain Marvel shows up.
Yes.
And they're immediately saved. I was like, that was easy. Okay.
That was like a quite emotional, I would say.
It was quite nice. And then of course, Tony and Cap meet on Earth because Captain Marvel saves them and brings them back. And I thought it was cute how Steve ran to Tony before Pepper did. I thought that was cute. And and I like how they're still not on the best of terms.
Yeah.
And I like how the drama from Civil War is still being carried on. Yeah. So what did you guys think about that? That they're still kind of not on the best of terms.
Yeah, I think when Tony called Steve alive, that was just like a stake to the heart.
He says like, "Where were you when we needed
and
you?"
he was like malnourished and like totally weak, and he was still blaming him. I think that was like one of the best acting during those first 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So and that part was just pure emotion.
He did a really good
Really good
performance
job.
in that movie, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. But those first 50 minutes, that was, I think, one of my favorite parts.
Honestly, in my opinion, Tony Robert Downey Jr.'s performance towered above the rest.
I think he had to because he was the main character.
I mean, apart from being Iron Man himself, I think as an actor, he delivered an amazing performance. So it was like really amazing.
Yeah. So then later on, once everyone gets back together, so they track down Thanos. They go straight to his garden. They beat him up really fast because now they have Captain Marvel on their side. And and then they find out that he has destroyed the Infinity Stones. So there's no way to reverse the snap. And I realized when I saw his face, it's all burnt up. And I was like, so what did you guys... what did you guys think about this
Well, the
moment?
garden gave me major Shrek 1 vibes.
Okay, Shrek 1, the farm. He's in a hut.
It was in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, right? Right after.
The
battle
Scarecrow.
ended, the Scarecrow reference and Thanos being a farmer.
And right then, Thor he's
goes
very
for-
frustrated.
he
He
goes for
kills
the-
Thanos off.
That I think that accompanied with the score, which is an updated version of Porch from Infinity War,
Okay.
it really built up the tension. How even though he killed him, he still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was just.
it was sort of like a revenge kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It still didn't do anything.
Still didn't do anything.
He still won.
Yeah, that's the
Yep.
thing. And I like how the movie begins with a defeat.
Yeah.
Because that's really
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't think anybody saw
yeah.
it coming.
Yeah. Because you don't expect it to go
Yeah.
that depressing at the start,
Yeah,
right?
you all have these fan theories and all. Oh, he kills him. That's it.
Okay, so right after Thanos is killed by Thor, the movie jumps ahead. It jumps ahead by 5 years. And I thought this part really surprised me because they showed how each character was dealing with the situation, the outcome of what happened earlier. So there are some main characters that the story focuses on. So one of them is Hawkeye. There's Thor, Cap, Scott Lang, and Tony. I think those are the main characters. So what did you guys? So let's talk about one by one. Hawkeye. So we see Hawkeye. He has lost his family. We actually see that scene. It's a very emotional scene. And then later we see him in Tokyo. He's going on a rampage. He's killing a bunch of people. I think he's fighting the Yakuza. And then we meet a character. I think Oshita went nuts for this character. So I want to ask you, what did you feel when you saw Samurai Sanada?
So basically, Hawkeye, he lost his entire family, and that was included in the prologue scene.
Yeah.
So he was going through like a lot of.
He's a broken
issues.
man.
He was
Yeah.
a broken man,
Yeah.
both like really, really emotionally. And then we see him, killing a lot of people in.
Yeah.
In Japan, and all of a sudden Hiroyuki Sanada popped up. I was literally freaking out.
When I was watching the movie, I knew I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, Oshita's gonna go nuts for this.
The moment he held onto the katana, I was like, shit.
But back to Hawkeye, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's an underrated scene. That part, that duel was amazing, and it was quite badass. And the meeting, the discussion between Hawkeye and Natasha, that was emotional as well. We get to see their friendship, and you can also see how they are emotionally wary. They're really, really tired after this incident, and it's quite emotional. I liked it.
Yeah, and I like how they introduced Hawkeye, like the way they introduced him, the action scene, and also like how brutal he has become. He's almost like the Punisher at this point, and I kind of wish they continued with it because even though it was a cool introduction, later on he's just normal Hawkeye. All that was different about him was the tattoo and the haircut. I wish they kind of continued with that character.
Ronin.
Yeah, the more brutal version of Hawkeye. So, but other than that, I thought the sequence was really cool. So another character we had was Thor. So Thor is in New Asgard. He's playing Fortnite with Korg. That was really funny. He has drinking problems. He has a beer belly. So I thought it was really interesting that they gave anxiety problems for the most confident character in the team. Yeah. So what did you think about?
So
yeah.
although he was a god, he was going through depression.
Yeah.
And I came across a couple of friends who didn't like the fact that they degrade the character. But if you look at what he was going through, you can actually, it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you have the most overconfident character and you bring him down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he lost everything. And in Infinity War, I think that was like the breaking point of it when he lost everything. And to see him like that, it was kind of sad.
And losing to Thanos, I think.
Yeah, but
sent
at
him
the
off
end,
edge.
I think that was redeemed. He just became.
Yeah.
I don't think the beer bill is a big problem. Him screaming at a kid was a bit too much.
Yeah, but I mean, that sounds like Thor, though,
Yeah,
right?
it sounds like Thor, yeah.
He would get
That
frustrated
was-
playing a video game. And Korg was back. I really love that character. I was happy to see him.
The new Asgard, it's situated in Tonsberg. Ringing any bells? So Tonsberg in Norway. So it was when the ice giant released the winter using the casket. Or
Okay.
Was it the winter casket?
That's the opening
and also
scene.
And also in Captain America as well, where the church.
Oh,
the
right. That's
red-
the scene you see
Yeah,
in
so-
the opening scene of Captain
it's
America.
Tonsberg is now named as the new Asgard.
New Asgard. Okay, that's a nice callback.
I think one
yeah.
thing I can add is in terms of the fact that they had that whole sequence that 5 years later, and actually giving us time to like process that, because I feel that some of the other movies they do these big changes like the Civil War or the things like that, where it feels like you have this drama, but at the end of the film it's like
It's
the characters are
resolved.
kind of resolved, or
It
they've
doesn't have much of
forgotten
an
about it. It doesn't really impact the next one, but here they've actually given time for people to actually process it and to go
Yeah,
through it. So
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that was a good way to go about it, and they really took their time to develop all these characters. And then during this time, Scott Lang comes out of the quantum realm, and there's this. I thought there was a really emotional scene when he's in the memorial park and he's looking at the people who have died, and he's worried his daughter is dead. I thought that was really cool, and he finds out that she's still alive, but she's grown up now. So he has lost a lot of time. He finds out that his girlfriend is dead. And he also figures out that time travel is possible. And I thought, did you guys notice the Ken Jeong cameo? Yeah. That was Mr. Chow from Hangover. Yeah, I did not expect him, but that was kind of funny.
It was actually revealed that they casted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they find out that time travel is possible. And so the team needs to meet Tony because Tony is the expert on this. So they meet with him, but now he has a family. He has a daughter. And I thought that was really cute. And he's not sure whether he wants to leave them. So I thought we saw a very mature Tony. And I like how he goes to Pepper. He asks her, what should I do? And that was very mature of him. And I really like, what do you guys think about how they develop this relationship through the years? Because in the beginning, in the other movies, it's usually Pepper who holds him back, who tells him not to go join the fight. But now she's like, she understands why he needs to go. So what do you guys think about this relationship, how they developed it? Was it satisfying to see how far they've come?
Really. I mean, if you compare from Iron Man 1 and 2, it's a big change. They're both mature.
They've both grown, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Tony's not the hothead that he used to be, and Pepper also. She has grown as a character, and I actually like her character arc. And I think what they did was they were like parents. Exactly.
That's exactly what, yeah.
Yeah, they were like parents. They were actually being reasonable. They were thoughtful. And I think they did a great character interaction with her, and it was really understandable.
And I also like how they tease us with Pepper's suit. They show the helmet, and then Tony says she never wears what I buy her. Yeah. So that was kind of funny. Yeah, Travis, you want to add something to that?
Really like the interaction between him and his daughter, because I feel like it feels like it's very genuinely like he's trying to make an effort to like be like compared with his relationship with his father or like his parents. I think he's like really
the child actress who played Tony's daughter, she was really good.
She was really good.
Yeah.
So,
and I think
that really, like, for the audience, it really establishes that this is a strong relationship, and you really feel for
and he doesn't want to do the same mistakes his father did. Yeah. So of course, so those are the characters. So what did you guys think about the effect Thanos' snap had on the rest of the world and the rest of the universe? Because it didn't work. It didn't work the way he wanted it to. So what did you guys think about that?
Basically, Thanos did what he wanted to do. Why he literally wiped off
half the
universe.
population. Yeah.
And I believe that he's a very very multi-dimensional villain, not one-dimensional, because we got to see several, like more than 2 or 3 one-dimensional villains like Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then again Yellow Jacket, and most importantly the villain from Thor: The Dark World.
Okay.
So but Thanos, I think they gave him enough time, and they made the character quite how to put it in words, not a very complex character to understand, but he had a proper motivation to do what he wanted to do. And compared to his comic book counterpart, I believe they have humanized Thanos to a good extent.
Yeah.
And the impact, his snap, the negative impact. Was,
because he didn't think about it.
He didn't think about it, but it was quite horrendous because a lot of people were going through it, and also the moment where Captain Marvel was having a discussion with Natasha, with
and
the
she
rest
says
of the Avengers, she
the
says,
whole universe is in chaos.
It's not just Earth.
It's not just
it
Earth,
affected other planets in the universe. So she'd be like, you guys won't get to see me for a long time. So at one point, I was wondering why she didn't turn up.
Yeah, but then she had bigger problems.
She has
to take care of the whole galaxy
in the space sector.
Yeah.
It it's something even we can kind of relate to, given what's been happening recently in Sri Lanka as well. Or if you take like the tsunami, that it's like some event that you like unexpectedly, and even though 5 years down the line, people are still trying to come to grips
because
with it.
people remember who they lost.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's the part that Thanos didn't take into account.
Yeah, so it's not like Thanos like went and like killed people with his army. It's like this is something totally unexpected and totally random. He used to do that.
He used to go around killing half the population. That is true.
Yeah.
He used to do that, but still, I mean, on this scale, it has never been done.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen HBO's The Leftovers?
No.
So in The Leftovers, 1% of the entire human population all of a sudden vanishes. So that is 1%. But right after 1%, you have seen, you can see the emotional trauma and how people are dealing with. And this is, we are talking about 50% of the entire universe. So this is, much
cities are
more,
empty.
It's just enormous and gigantic. But Leftovers is one of my favorite TV shows from HBO. And she was, she voiced Proxima Midnight. Yeah, she's a beautiful and a very talented actress. So from HBO's Leftovers, and as you said, what he did was, it left a really
Big impact.
It made a big negative impact and also left a black mark.
And I think it was important to show it because the filmmakers needed to justify why you would go back and try to reverse it. Because if people were happy, you can't justify that. But I guess this way they did a really good job. And I like how they took the time to show what these characters are going through and why they're motivated, why they're individually motivated to go and reverse this. So what are your other favorite moments in the first act? Like funny moments or any interactions you liked?
I think Hulk's like
Seeing Hulk and
out
Banner,
of nowhere, it just came out of nowhere. Like, oh, that's Professor.
seeing Hulk and Banner
Yeah.
having merged, and he has finally accepted
Well,
the Hulk.
the first time I watched, I was like, oh, they didn't actually look back and they didn't show us why they or how they did it, but they didn't need to. He explained it very well. I don't think you need to. Yeah.
And I like how in every movie Hulk has somehow changed a little bit.
Yeah.
They use him in a different way.
Yeah, because they can't actually do a full solo movie.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the rights are with Universal. So they drag out his character throughout the MCU. Also, did you notice that he was eating his own Hulk flavor in
Oh,
game?
okay.
Yeah.
They
But-
mentioned that in Infinity War,
yeah,
right?
and he was eating that in this
All
game.
right. I really like the diner scene and with the kids coming and trying to take his photo.
Yeah.
That was really cute.
That was the kid from Captain America, Winter Soldier, I think. The
Which
small-
kid?
The blonde kid.
Oh, the boy in
boy.
the museum?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Same guy.
Oh, okay. That
That's
was-
actually one of the Russo brothers' children.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then I really like the part where they time travel. They do the testing, where they play around with Ant-Man a lot, and he turns up old, and then he shows up as a baby.
So basically, they figured out de-aging.
Yeah, it's true. Anything to add, Travis?
What was surprised was in terms of the Black Widow and the fact that she's playing a central role. I think
She's sort of like
I
the
think
Shield
so,
director,
yeah,
kind of.
I think-
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting to see that. You knew like even from like after Winter Soldier, you kind of saw that she was like the main personality there.
'Cause
But
Nick
I think
Fury
this you
is not
actually
there.
see like the role that
Yeah.
she's playing. So
Her character arc in the movie was really fleshed out. I mean, we saw her grieving during the first 20 minutes. And to see her in the middle of the movie sacrificing herself, that was...
And it's not normal for you to see Black Widow
Yeah,
breaking down
she
a
was
lot.
a stone cold character, right? And to
She
see
put
her...
she put a brave face all the time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you see her breaking out, you know...
Yeah. Another part I really liked was Tony brings a new shield for Cap, and he comes back to the Avengers HQ, and they sort of move on, and so he's back with the team, and so we get to the time traveling segment. So, Travis, you wanted to talk about this, so you want to explain how they achieve this time traveling, what the plan is, anyway?
okay, I think like first of all, it's all basically like theories and like different ways when it comes to how you think about time travel. So I think broadly, like looking, I think we have to first establish, the sort of the way they have gone about time travel and how you see it in like other films as well. So I mean, one sort of view you have is that in films like Back to the Future, where there's basically just one timeline, where if you go back, basically you can cause paradoxes, and if you change something there, it's going to affect the future.
Yeah.
Or if you take like even films like the old Terminator films, there the idea was that if you go back, you basically can't change the past, or you can't change the future, or your action will sort of lead to the future happening. But I think
it's inevitable.
Inevitable. But so in a certain extent, in terms of what they've done here also, it feels like the characters sort of worry about that, because we see that they're sort of making an effort not to sort of change too many things.
Yeah.
But inevitably they do.
I like the discussion around what they should
What
do.
they should do.
Yeah.
I think later on we see like the scene where when Captain America is fighting his younger self, and he basically like, I think at the end of the fight he hits him with the mines. So probably he wants him to forget or something like that. So they are kind of like tiptoeing around this issue because I guess they're worrying about it. But I think based on, it seems like the way they're going it is that I think the universe we have here, it's a multiverse sort of thing. So when
Change
back in
something,
time, it basically changes the timeline. So
It changes
doesn't
that
cause
timeline.
yeah, to the paradox.
So I think when they go back in time and they change something, right that moment the timeline splits into
It's a
two.
split, yeah.
So you get an alternate timeline. And I think why they did it was this opens up to multiple possibilities, and they might or might not
Yeah.
bring in Kang, the time conqueror.
Okay.
So he's a time traveling.
And also, like, there's so many like you
Yeah,
said, so many possibilities, and it's kind of a mess at the end. So
it's kind of a mess.
yeah.
I think this will be
In a
touched,
good way.
I think
Yeah.
this will be touched upon in the future movies.
Yeah,
the consequences.
They will
of
have to
it.
deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each time they took the stone out, it created an alternate timeline. So in that case, they tried to grab the space gem twice.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it created two alternate timelines. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also, as he said, we saw Loki in the.
So
the
basically,
cube.
they go back and they try to retrieve the stones from different timelines.
So maybe they might show what Loki did in the upcoming TV show.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
And even though now in the end
Yeah.
Captain America has to put back the stones, right? The stone was inside a tesseract, unless they recreated. They didn't recreate it actually. So how is he gonna put it back the same way it was?
These are questions. Yeah, but let's not poke too many holes in the logic because it's time travel. I mean, it's not supposed to always make sense. But I think we should focus on the narrative possibilities
Yeah,
because
yeah.
those are really cool. So, what was so you have different people going into the different times and trying to retrieve the stones. So Thor went back to Asgard, which was the part we see in the Dark World, and while Rocket is retrieving the Reality Stone, we see Thor meeting his mother. So I thought that was a really sweet scene.
That was a really great
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
I think she got better character interaction and much more better character arc than she got in Thor Dark World.
And I really like that actress, Rene
Yeah,
Russo. She's really
yeah,
cool,
she's
and
really good.
it was a really nice moment. And also, Thor steals the hammer from his past self. So, bit of a dick move, but that's Thor. That's what he
So
does.
basically, that Thor is running around without his.
Without his hammer, so he must be really upset. So anyway, that's one timeline, and then the other one, I think my personal favorite was the battle in New York. So they
Yes,
deal with the
that was my
aftermath. They show
yeah.
the aftermath of that battle with Loki. I expected time travel, but I didn't expect this many throwbacks
Yeah.
to some of the best moments in the MCU.
I mean, to
So-
see the circle shot again, that was just
yeah, the circle shot for the Avengers teaming up, and Bruce meets the Ancient One.
yeah. That
and
was
they- and,
I wasn't expecting her at all.
And they had this really funny
and
argument.
the fact that she knew Doctor Strange would
Yeah.
be here in 5 years.
Yeah. And I really thought it was funny how they were arguing about the timelines like we did after the movie. So that was kind of funny. What did you think about when after the Avengers defeated Loki and then the Hydra guys show up to take the Tesseract and the scepter? That was interesting.
Basically, Captain America spoiled it for them.
So we get to see. So they try to take the Tesseract and
I think we were all expecting the recreation of the Winter Soldier elevator, and he just like slants over and Hail Hydra. I'm like, oh, he did it.
So basically, what happens is Steve walks up to the Hydra guys and he convinces them to hand over the scepter by saying "Hail Hydra." So those guys must be really confused now. What the hell is going on? But that was a nice
And
reference to the
that's
comics.
another alternate out because they think Captain is part of Hydra, and
Yeah.
the actual Cap doesn't know.
Doesn't
SWAT.
know. And then Cap runs into the other
Yes.
Cap, the past Cap, and they have a little fight. In all the confusion, Loki steals the Tesseract.
Yes.
And so I'm guessing that's how you jumpstart the Loki TV
Which
show.
was a nice way from movies to TV.
Yeah. So
And did you catch the cameo from Agent Carter? Edwin Jarvis, the actor?
Oh yeah, Jarvis.
I was
So
squeaking
so
out.
of course, because they don't have the Tesseract, they have to go further back in time to 1970 and infiltrate the Shield headquarters to steal the Tesseract. So when Tony steals the Tesseract, he runs into his father, which was a funny, really funny meetup. What did you guys think about that moment?
Yeah, again, I like the fact that they have, even though you have all these people like running around, jumping around, differently, you had these moments where, that's like the main part
Character
of like all
moments,
the character moments. I think it's very much a callback to the first Avengers film also, where you had these few characters like having like those moments to interact. So, and this, looking over the years, you see that this is something that really like something that's very close to Tony Stark's heart, where in
He didn't get to say goodbye to his father.
I think even in
so-
Age of Ultron, I think the reference is like the whole scenes with his father, and also I think it's something very close to him. So
it was
definitely
it's a
there's
nice way to approach the closing of his arc.
Yes.
So that was really nice. And I thought there's also the part where Cap is trying to steal the PIM particles and he sees Peggy. So I think this scene was important because this is where he gets the idea that he can go back now. He can go back and relive the life that he never got to live. So at first, when I saw the ending, I was a bit surprised. I was like, why did they do that? But when I thought about it, I was like, oh no, he already saw this possibility. So he had the idea. So I thought that was really nice the way they set it up. So another thing that happens is Natasha and Hawkeye go to retrieve the Soul Stone. So what did you guys think about that moment?
Honestly, it was a really sad scene. I mean, I never thought. I thought it would be Hawkeye. Because
You thought it was Hawkeye,
I
yeah.
thought it was him. But I think.
But he had his family. He had
Yeah,
to get,
yeah.
he had somebody to live
Yeah.
for.
Even though
So-
I think it was really emotional scene.
It was an emotional
Yeah.
scene. Yeah.
They were literally best friends. And Hawkeye had a family, and Natasha, she was like, okay, you go, I'll go ahead and sacrifice myself. And Hawkeye was like, okay, no, it's me who's going to
So
do
they
that.
both try to sacrifice
And
each
that
other.
scene was like, yeah. So but that scene, the tension, and it was like really emotional and very saddening
okay.
before the other death.
We'll talk about it, yeah. So next we have War Machine and Nebula trying to retrieve the Power Stone. So I thought it was really funny to see Peter Quill dancing in the cave without no music because he has the headphones on. And this is where you find out that the future Nebula has a connection to the past Nebula. So their memories are connected.
Yeah.
And
So basically,
yeah.
Thanos had the
Figures out.
idea of Wi-Fi in space. I mean, think about it.
his Wi-Fi was the best. I mean, that connected like
I mean,
from
that
far away, right? Good connections.
And I think what they showed was the differences between the two nebulas.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
was trying to please the father.
Yeah.
And the other one has changed so
Other
much.
one has changed so much, and it showed the difference, how far she has come. Yeah.
And
I think even in terms of the difference between the Thanos, which we later see like in a big way as well. I think
Yeah.
So in Infinity War, when Thanos meets with Tony Stark for the first time, we get to see he was like, Tony Stark, you are not the only one who's cursed with knowledge. So they properly explained this. I was wondering how would Thanos find out that Tony Stark is a genius? And in Endgame, we get to see Thanos accessing Nebula's future memory, in which Tony Stark explains how this time traveling
But
functions.
are you sure that's how it happened?
Is that so?
Because it's
So,
supposed to be
did
a
I miss
separate
something?
timeline.
even before he found out who was Tony Stark, talk about Endgame, when he accesses Nebula's memory, he calls them the Avengers.
Yeah, he knows.
He knew.
From the Battle of New York, I think
yeah,
he
knew.
and at the end of the first Avengers movie, they say,
Because,
okay,
because in Infinity War, this question was asked from the Russo brothers, how did he know? Then he answered, Tony Stark is the one who blew up the mothership, right?
Yeah.
So that's how he knew.
he wanted to know who did
He
this.
wanted to know
yeah.
who did it.
So
I agree with it, but apart from that, I think in this case, Thanos properly get to witness.
yeah, and
what
I
kind
thought,
of person Tony Stark
and I really
is,
liked
so-
how he noticed what his mistake was.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
he was like, okay, this time I'm going to make sure nobody remembers what happened. So nobody's
he
going to go
wanted-
back and change
So
this.
you want to destroy the entire
Yeah.
universe.
So that was really interesting.
Thanos basically watched Infinity War in Endgame.
He watched Infinity.
He watched Infinity War in Endgame, and Doctor Strange watched Endgame in Infinity.
But at least Doctor Strange didn't spoil anything for us. Anyway, so everybody finds their Infinity Stones and they
Yeah.
all return to the original timeline. But past Nebula also returns with them and they don't know. So Tony makes a new gauntlet in
Yeah.
like half an hour. I don't know. I'm not going to complain about all the logic, but it's Tony Stark.
I don't think it was that hard to make. I mean, the only thing they had to make, even the gauntlet couldn't contain the stone.
Contain the stone.
So it was just basically a normal
His
gauntlet.
armor, maybe
Yeah.
like a more advanced version of his
Yeah.
armor. And then I like the discussion about who should attempt the snap. That was really interesting. And then they finally decide Hulk should be the one to do it.
Yeah.
And then because everybody wants to do it, like Thor wants to do it, but then they're like, no, you have anxiety problems, you have panic
No,
attacks.
I don't think he could physically hold it due to his physicality.
Really?
Kind of think it. That
No,
was the
but it's Tony's armor, so it will adjust
Yeah.
to the person. So I don't think that's the issue.
No, I'm talking about like. I don't think Thor was that strong as he
Okay.
was in Infinity War. I'm
And
sorry
also
about
mentally, he's not in a good
Yeah,
condition
yeah.
to make that kind of
Yeah.
a decision, right?
Thor just wanted to redeem himself, so that he was like, okay, let me do it.
But his mental state was not good enough. So anyway, Hulk decides to do it. He does the snap, but then past Thanos is brought into the future by Nebula, and he shows up and he just starts blowing up the Avengers HQ. I thought people died. I actually thought
Yeah,
people died.
they kind of had plot, but during that split second, you can see Scott going.
Yeah. I thought Scott was dead. I was like, I didn't see properly. So I was like,
You
did
could
they
see the
Okay.
ripple effect.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
they show it,
okay,
they show it.
okay.
If you like, watch it the second time, you can see it.
Okay, cool. We have to watch this movie multiple times. So anyway, now we have Act 3, which is like the final showdown. So Thanos shows up and the Infinity Gauntlet is conveniently nearby for him for the second attempt. And then you have the moment where Tony, Cap, and Thor make a final stand.
I love that moment.
This was my favorite moment.
I think it was most of us. It was.
Yeah, I actually like this part more than the final bit because it's just 4 characters and it's very simple and you can clearly see what each person is doing. So I really love that. So what are your favorite moments from this fight? It's obvious, I know, but just say it.
Captain America lifting
The hammer.
Yeah.
And Thor's reaction, I knew it.
And also, even in comics, Thanos himself as a character is very powerful even without the gauntlet. So we actually, you could see how powerful you could see how powerful he is even without the gauntlet. And he was like literally trying to kill the Trinity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I thought it was cool back in Age of Ultron. Cap didn't lift it, maybe because he didn't want Thor to feel bad. So that was a nice little.
Probably because he knew it was Bucky who killed Tony Stark's parents. Yeah, that was holding him back. He just wanted to-
Yeah. I mean, you could have multiple explanations.
Exactly.
It could be that he's a nice guy. He doesn't want
nice
to make
guy, maybe.
Thor. It could be both. Yeah.
And it
could
was
be
funny when Thor was like, I knew it.
That was really funny. Yeah. and I really like the part where Thor at one point has Stormbreaker and Mjolnir in
and
the
he
two hands.
charged Iron Man. That was like a callback to Iron Man. Sorry,
The first movie. First Avengers movie, yeah. And then the part where Thanos breaks Cap's shield.
Yeah,
And I thought it looked like the moment from Tony's vision where everyone was dead.
that
And-
moment was. I actually felt for Cap because the way Thanos was like, he was going to kill him.
Yeah, he was
The
about
way-
to kill him.
I think Thanos actually let go compared to Infinity War. He was holding back. This is why he just went ham on them.
Yeah. He was more desperate in
Yeah.
this one.
That's the moment where you can clearly see the difference between the old Thanos and the Thanos we saw in Infinity War.
True,
even,
true.
Even in terms of the look, even in terms of the fact that he's coming with a sword.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
That's just the physical
Yeah.
design.
That was actually the sword. The blade was actually a reference to the Thanos copter,
Oh,
which
okay.
was confirmed by Jim Starlin 2 days ago. The way he rotates it.
Okay,
yeah, it
that was
confirmed.
that was kind of funny. Okay, so anyway, Thanos starts the attack. He brings in his entire army, and you have Steve Rogers facing it on his own.
That was
For like
that was a cool shot.
That shot was really epic.
It was like a
Yeah.
Renaissance painting.
So anyway, after a few moments, Doctor Strange appears because the snap was reversed. So everyone was back, and he opens up portals, and you get everyone coming in. Everyone, like you get the Wakandan army, you get Pepper, you get Valkyrie. Asgardians, you get all the Guardians of the Galaxy, you get Peter Parker.
Did you see Howard the Duck?
Was he there?
He was there next.
Oh.
He was next to Wasp with a machine gun.
Oh, that was so cool. It's sort of like the moment from Ready Player One.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So what did you guys think about the final battle? No, I love the battle, but I thought it was a little hard to follow because there were so many things going on.
I think that was the
point.
yeah. It had to feel big.
Yeah.
This was the end of everything.
It was the end of everything.
I think one of my favorite was Ant-Man punching the Leviathan. I was like,
yeah, let's talk about the favorite moments from the final battle.
Leviathan.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet
I
Witch.
think the way she dropped down and that was just, and she was angry. She was really angry.
She was really angry. Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised there was no Vision. I thought he would be back by here as an
But
android.
Yes, he was killed before the snap.
No,
So
but he's still a robot. He might have.
No, it was a reverse of the snap. So
Yeah, no,
everybody that died from the snap came back.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't think you can bring back people before that.
No, I thought Shuri would have downloaded his memories and everything and
Oh.
rebuilt him. So
maybe you can do it later.
Maybe the future.
You can do it later.
Yeah.
That might be how you can bring him
And
back.
Iron Man and Pepper side by side fighting. That
Pepper shows up. That was really cool.
I think it's really nice to see that the scene between the Peter and the old Gamora, and that was like really.
She punches him. She doesn't like him yet.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more scenes with that because we saw like in Infinity War how Gamora's death sort of really affected Peter and how that sort of changed things. So yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought Captain Marvel is going to deliver the final punch to Thanos, but I liked how they utilized
They-
her powers.
they
like
bring
she
her in,
arrived
yeah.
in the right
Just when they
moment.
needed her.
And also, I love the fact that they teased the all-female team, the Air
Yeah,
Force in
yeah,
comics.
yeah. That was really cool. Yeah.
And also, one of my favorite parts was where Doctor Strange. He didn't play a major role in the
Yeah,
battle,
yeah.
but he was like doing his part.
He was
and,
doing his part,
just
yeah.
guiding other wizards.
And
So,
I like the part where he looks at Tony and he gives the signal.
Signal.
This is the one where we got it.
Out.
So make it count. Do your thing, right? And he doesn't tell anyone what to do, but he lets him know we are there now.
Yeah,
Just,
and action-wise, Infinity War had more action. But
It was better.
it was
focused, I
I
think.
wouldn't say it was
Yeah.
better in terms of action, but in terms of action, it had more action right from the beginning itself in Infinity War. And Endgame was more of a slow burner, but
Yeah.
right at the end, it exploded.
Yeah, but I think you needed to make it slow. I think you needed to
Yeah,
spend
they
time
took
with the
their time, yeah.
characters. You needed to spend time
That
with
is
the
what I love.
characters to make it, to have build up at the end. And of course, when you have 30 characters running around, everyone's gonna play a smaller, more diminished role. But still, it was quite entertaining. And I'm sure once we watch it a few more times, it'll get better because we'll start noticing all the things we missed in the first time.
Yeah, the 60% or 70% of the movie focused on story building, and they did it really well.
That's how you do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how you do it.
That's why the movie
Yeah.
ended up being so successful.
Yeah. So I also like the part where Peter Parker shows up
Yes.
and hugs Tony. So that was really nice.
And
Yeah.
the callback to Homecoming, instant kill.
Yeah, instant kill was
did
back.
not see
yeah.
that coming.
And of course, finally, Thanos does get his hand on
On
the
the
Infinity Gauntlet, and he does the snap.
Yeah.
And then you realize that Tony Stark did a little sleight of hand, and he got the stones with him, and then Tony snaps,
Yeah.
and basically Thanos is defeated. And then he says, "What does he say?" He says, "I am inevitable."
That's-
And then Tony Stark says,
I am Iron Man.
"That was a really cool way
That's
to
how you. That's how
finish
you
it
end
off."
a good character.
That was really, and so Tony, the strain is too much on Tony, so he dies at the end of the movie, so which is really sad. So what did you guys feel about this ending?
I think
The
I
way they
actually cried.
ended, you cried.
Yeah, I did. That's how you end a good character from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been watching this since 2008, man. I mean, to see this end.
You were a
is-
wee kid, man.
Yeah, I was a wee kid. And to see this end, it was just it was pretty emotional. And I like how Tom Holland played.
Mm-mm.
And even though for a small part, he acted that part very well. When
And
he
when you get to the funeral scene and you see everyone
yeah,
that was connected to Tony, they
even
all show up.
Thunderbolt Ross was there. I was like,
Ross was there, and even the kid from Iron Man 3.
He was
like,
there.
at first I was like, "Who's that kid?" Then I realized, "Oh, okay, it's the kid." I was like, "Wow, this is really nice."
he might become the next Iron Man. I'm not sure.
Okay.
They won't tease him like
Okay.
this. Could be.
And I also like that Jon Favreau was there as Happy.
Yeah.
Because Jon Favreau, the director of the first Iron Man movie,
He started
so
this.
he started this whole MCU with Robert Downey Jr. So he was there at the end, and they do a little callback with the cheeseburger joke.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really sweet. So what did you guys think about Travis Oshita?
Yeah, I think you really feel for him because I mean, if you contrast, it more or less the MCU more or less started with the Iron Man, the 2008, and you can
If that
kind of
movie
see
didn't
that
work, we won't have an
you
MCU.
won't have an MCU,
Yeah.
and you can at the same time you can see like how much he has grown from that point to reach this point. So I mean, because of that, you as an audience, you really feel the sort of
And if
emotional
he didn't grow, all those people would not have shown up to support him at the end. That shows that he did have some positive impact on all of those people, right?
Yeah, so as Travis said, Iron Man, the first movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, laid the first foundation stone. And Iron Man is easily one of my favorite characters, and to see him, dying was really emotional. And
He was sort of that Logan type moment.
exactly.
It's been a long journey, and finally they gave him a good ending. Yeah, you're not gonna see. Yeah, you're not
Most
probably
probably,
won't
yes.
see him again unless they do some cameo, some kind of time travel thing.
And also, speaking of cameos, we saw Stan the Manly's final cameo.
Yep.
Make love, not war.
That was a good message.
Good message as well.
It went by really fast, and I think what happened was people started cheering, and then I also missed what he said. So I was like, okay, that was cool, but what did he say? But that was nice to see him one more
Yeah,
time.
true.
So after Tony's funeral, we see. What did you think about Thor's ending? So this part, I was a little bit disappointed with this one because I kind of like how they did Thor's arc through his films and how it ended in Ragnarok with establishing him as the king.
Yeah.
So I kind of was a little disappointed to see him walk away from that.
No, I think he needs to find himself again.
Before he can come back.
And I think the end of Endgame is just another stepping stone for other movies now.
Yeah.
Now, as
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I think that's going to be the start of the much more cosmic MCU.
Yeah.
You're going to have like multiple characters from multiple films in different each film. Like Hulk in the next Spider-Man movie, not the one coming in.
I want to see Sylvester Stallone's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I want to see that team. So anyway, so Thor joins as Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm guessing they're going around trying to find Gamora. And
I think Star-Lord is going, but the others don't know.
yeah. And they might even run into Loki, the other Loki who's in some
think the
different
reason
timeline.
they got Thor for Guardians is so he can battle Adam Warlock. Yeah,
They
because he's really powerful.
They
and
can
much-
explore this in the next Guardians movie,
Yeah.
I guess.
He's actually in the comics really on par with Thanos, even much more powerful, I think.
There are so many possibilities for the upcoming films in the Marvel Cinematic
There's
Universe.
so many, yeah.
So through Eternals as well. So
Eternals
through-
is already in the works, I
and
think.
also I'm excited to see Doctor Doom and Galactus, which may take about another
It'll
6
take
to
a few
7
years,
years.
but they'll
More than few years actually, 6 to 7.
do it.
They
yeah.
will do it well, and also throughout 11 years, in 22 movies, they explore the cosmic side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the mystic side, and also
on Earth.
Yeah. And they perfectly mix it together like the perfect ensemble, the final battle
I
and
think
everything else. Like,
In this
so
one,
well
you see
placed.
them connect to most of the other movies, right? So you really see the potential of the MCU. It really was a cinematic universe, and
At the same time, I feel like they also like left things open that to explore, like the thing with Warlock. Even like initially I was thinking that they would introduce this before Infinity War, so that he can sort of
Play a role
because
in Infinity War, yeah.
because in the Infinity War,
but I felt like maybe, but I guess
now that we have Captain, like
he's
someone
not a
like Captain
character.
Marvel,
Yeah, he's not a character we are familiar
Yeah,
with. So
familiar with,
maybe it made sense that they would
that
keep
you
him
would
for
keep-
later.
Yeah.
The next thing we see is the final part where we see Steve Rogers ending. So he returns the stones to the original timelines, and so one of my friends was asking, "Do you think it was awkward when he had to meet the Red Skull to return the Soul Stone?" So anyway, he returns all the stones, and then he decides to stay with Peggy. Now, like I said before, when I first saw this scene, I was like, that's kind of weird, because I thought he's supposed to get over Peggy because we saw that in Civil War. He was starting to get over her and maybe move on with Sharon. But now we see that moment where they infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and you see that moment where he realizes that he can actually live the life he always wanted. So I thought that was really nice, the way they ended his arc as well.
Yeah, it's all about having a second chance. Even Doctor Strange, he used to be an egoistic doctor. He used to be the best surgeon in the world, and then he got the second chance after meeting with an accident. And just like that, in a similar fashion, Captain America got the chance to see Peggy from a certain distance, and he realized, okay, maybe
I can do this.
he should grab this chance.
And he did. Yeah, that was really
It
nice.
was nice.
And also, yeah,
Fitting that it happened to Captain because throughout his entire arc has been that he's one who's like serving the kind. He's putting his.
he waited too long to
he's,
ask Peggy out. He didn't get the chance. Yeah.
He's always been in that role. He's a symbol. He's a symbol. Yeah, he's always that. So it's really satisfying that he finally got what that keeps him satisfied.
Yeah. So anyway, he comes back and we see him as an old man. So he has stayed back with Peggy. He has lived a full life, and he comes and he hands over the shield to Sam. So what did you guys think about this? So Sam could be the next Captain America.
I think it was fitting because even if it's not the comics, in
Yeah.
the movie itself, Bucky is considered as a terrorist.
Yeah. People
And-
won't accept him as
And
Captain
not,
America.
even though he was not a terrorist, he's still tired of war. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to do it. And you can see from his face, he doesn't want to do this
He
anymore.
doesn't want it. And he's the one who tells Sam to go
Yeah.
get
so
the shield.
they
Yeah.
definitely discussed this before,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
can see the look on Sam's face. He was
Yeah,
proud to have it.
And also Sam does display some leadership qualities because
Yeah.
you see him with the group therapy sessions. He's
Yeah.
helping people out. So I feel like they did a good job to build him up for this
And
role.
Sam is actually a great Captain America in the comics itself.
mm.
Yeah, he uses both his Falcon wings and the shield and blend it perfectly.
So that was a really nice way to end this movie. Final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Yeah, go see it, man.
Go see it.
Go see it.
Multiple times maybe.
So as I told my friends, if you have been a faithful fan of the Marvel Cinematic
For
Universe
11 years.
for 11 years, even if you haven't stick with the Marvel Cinematic Universe for 11, at least if you have seen all 22 movies or 21 movies, so Endgame is the greatest gift you can have. Marvel would give you.
It's the big payoff to everything they build up.
So go and
Yeah.
watch it in the cinema.
Yeah.
Find the biggest screen you can come across.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining me. This was really fun. And of course, thanks to Geek HQ for letting us record here. And thank you guys for watching. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure we missed a lot of things. So let us know what your favorite moments are. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Movie Slinger out.